Hi, welcome to episode 19 of Talk About the Passion. Today's conversation is a little shorter than normal, so I've decided to talk a little more at the beginning here than I normally do. If that doesn't sound that exciting to you, you can always just fast forward ahead to the interview, or you can go make an English muffin or whatever, and we'll be here when you get back. So my guest today is my friend Allison Dick. Allison is a stand-up comedian from the Boston area, and we get into that whole world as well as her time earlier in the roller derby here in Boston. In this episode, we talk about an event she was performing in that night, which turned out to be pretty bizarre. The venue was this huge warehouse in a mill building over in Norwood, Massachusetts, which is actually pretty close to where I live. It's called the Norwood Space Center, and it's basically a old mill building, and there's businesses in there now, and there's a little brewery in there, and it was pretty cool. So we walked in there, and there's this DJ all the way at the other end of the warehouse playing dub reggae at like a nice enough volume, and then as it turned out, the event was run by that guy Dave Tree, whom I then met. I had never met. And, I'm familiar with his band, Tree. I was going to ask him to be on the podcast, but I didn't run back into him throughout the rest of the night, so I didn't get to do that. But he seems like an interesting guy, so hopefully I can get that happening with him. There was also an art opening taking place in this building, and the brewery had a good-sized crowd in there. So, the place is pretty cool. And it looks like Dave has some music scheduled in the near future there. The sound in there for live music will definitely be challenging, as it was for the four comedians. So it was Allison and Alan Richardson, Valley D, and Dana J. Bain. I hope I'm saying that right. They were all very funny, but it was basically like this, giant stage in a huge warehouse. So of course the sound was carrying and echoey, and it was a pretty bizarre, surreal scene. But all four of the comedians handled it well, and I thought it was cool, and I'm glad I stayed for the whole thing. We hung for a little bit after, and it was cool hanging out with these folks, I just met. Especially after, my first impression of them was on stage. So, good stuff. Anyway, I'm on social media. If you search for Talk About the Passion podcast, you should be able to find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Same goes for wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And you can find me there and subscribe if you like what you hear, and then you won't miss any new episodes. You can also give me a review on iTunes. You don't have to write anything, but hey, if you like it, give it a grade. If you have a chance, I'll give you a Werther's original next time I see you. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be on this podcast, send me a message on Facebook or Twitter, and we can set something up. I'll give you the details of how this thing works. And anyway, let's get to today's episode. Thanks for listening, and here is me and Allison Dick. So I'm here with my friend Allison Dick. How are you today?
I'm well.
And we've known each other for probably
15 years, maybe, kind of.
Yeah, right after you had just finished growing up in Lynn.
Yeah.
And then I for whatever reason I thought you grew up in Lynn.
Yeah.
Just because you worked kind of near there, so I just assumed everyone there lived in Lynn.
Unfortunately, not from Lynn.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Townsend, Mass. It's a small town next to Fitchburg.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on there. Very small town.
Yeah.
Used to take the commuter rail a lot into Boston for punk shows and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you start doing that?
what, high school, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 90s.
Yes. Yeah, like 98.
Yeah. And you, so when I met you, you were involved in roller derby.
Yes.
How did you get involved in that?
Well, my friend Jess that I grew up with was going to RISD,
Mm-hmm.
and they had started a league in Providence, and I kind of like heard about it and was like, oh, that's something I have to do. And then I went and saw a game in Providence, and I just thought it was really cool. Everyone, like, at the time, they like made their own uniforms, so it was very crafty.
Right.
And yeah, I thought it was pretty rad. And so then they started the league in Boston in 2005, and I joined, I think, in 2006, and did that for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm. What league? What were they called?
The Boston Derby Dames.
Yeah.
Now I think they changed it to Boston Roller Derby.
Right.
Because Dames is not cool, I guess.
It's not a progressive.
It's not a progressive term, I guess. But yeah, you came to about once or twice, right?
Yeah. Out in Wilmington.
Shriners Auditorium.
Yeah.
Where they have the circus. So yeah.
So what was that like getting into, like, initially, like when you first started with
it was good. It was good. I could kind of roller skate, but you know, I kind of had to learn how to become an athlete. It was pretty rad, though. I used to throw up after every game.
Yeah.
And then just from like all the nerves and like adrenaline going through you. But as I said, I was like learning how to become an athlete. So I learned, you know, you should probably eat something after you exert yourself that much. But yeah, it was cool. I was on the travel team, the all-star team. Like we went to Vegas and like Seattle and Long Island, glamorous places like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
And what was your name on there?
More abuse.
Yeah.
There's like hair on the microphone.
And you came up with that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And so, for people that don't really know what roller derby is all about, what's sort of the basic?
Okay, so it's a contact sport. I haven't had to go through the rules for a while.
I know, it's been a while.
And it's a contact sport where basically there are two jammers from each team. They're like racing around the track. They kind of call the jammer a ball with a brain. Basically, you're going around, and the people who aren't on your team are trying to stop you by checking or blocking. And the people that are on your team are trying to do that to the other person while trying to help you get through. And you get points for every opposing blocker that you pass.
Yeah. And what was your position usually?
I kind of started as a jammer, and then I did more blocking, but I kind of did both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did because it gets kind of violent. Did you ever, is it ever like real, like where some anger, some fists flying? And
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's like some like shit talking, which is always kind of fun.
Right.
And you know, there's real injuries. Luckily, I never got injured too badly.
Yeah.
I think I like dislocated my shoulder at one point, but that was it.
Yeah.
But I remember a friend of mine, she actually had to get plastic surgery once after a bout because she like went to go hit somebody and they sort of like made her whiff.
Oh, really?
And she just like went face first like into like the metal rafters.
Right.
So she wore like a big hockey helmet after that.
Yeah.
From then on.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times.
Nice. And so how long did you do that for?
I played for 6 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you stop?
It's one of those hobbies that like just sort of slowly begins to take over your life.
Yeah.
So like Boston roller derby is like a small business that we all kind of had to run, and like in addition to practicing like 3 or 4 days a week, you'd like cross train, and plus there's fucking Yahoo groups and just so many emails and garbage. So it just sort of like began to take over my life, and you know, I started playing when I was in college, and yeah, I was just wanting to do something different after that. So
nice.
Yeah, like, you know, stop working at Starbucks, which I did for a long time.
You went back though.
What?
You went back to Starbucks though.
Went back to the Bucks, yeah.
So now though, you're doing stand-up comedy.
I am.
And you've been doing that now for about 6 years, I think, right?
No.
No?
Really?
5 years?
No, like 3 years.
3?
Yeah.
It was right before I moved to California the 17th time or whatever time
Oh,
it was.
yeah. One of those times.
I came to see you up in Gloucester at that movie theater.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was like right at the
early,
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was maybe my first
I think it was
show. Was it really bad?
It was all right. Pretty good. There was a few things you said in there that was shocking. Coming out of your mouth because we've been friends. So
yeah.
But so since then though, so you've been doing this regularly, and you seem to be killing it, I think, and having a good time doing it. So,
yeah.
So when you initially got into it, did you have influences like when you were growing up, like people you thought were
I honestly wasn't so much into stand-up. I would say I was more into like sketch comedy. Like I really loved Kids in the Hall and The State. And I don't know. I'm more like comedic things. Like I was really into the Cosby Show. Oh no. And Seinfeld and all of that. But you know, I feel like I was sort of got the itch more when I started listening to like WTF and stuff like that, and hearing more about comics. And you know, I was in California for a year, and I did some improv out there, and then I moved here, and I took a class at Improv Boston with Rob Crean, who's a really cool dude. You don't know Rob, do you?
I don't think so.
He's been doing comedy like in Boston for close to 15 years, I think.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But he seems to be a guy that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Shoot, I was going to say something else and I totally lost it.
Did you tell Mark Maron and those guys that you were going to be on this podcast? Now that you're in the comedy world.
Oh, yeah. He's like, hey, listen up.
Yeah.
We're in Christian's podcast. Chris.
But, so you do mostly stuff around Boston. Have you?
Yeah. Actually, I was up in Portland the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I did this place like Laugh Shack at Lincoln's, which is a really cool spot. And I've done a place in Burlington and in Rhode Island. So branched out a little bit. I want to start applying to festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
And what is that process like with stand-up comedy, open mics? Some people might not really understand what that is. They might think it's like a Gavin acoustic guitar.
Yep.
But within the comedy scene, how does that work?
So like comedy open mics, you usually show up early to try to get a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to like a bar that has an open mic, obviously. And you show up, you write down your name. You usually get somewhere between like 2 and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually like 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like where you go to test out new stuff or try to, you know, practice your jokes that you're trying to develop into a new 5 minutes or whatever.
Right.
Or just, try out weird shit.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. When you first did it, were you nervous going up with them? Just because it's...
Yeah, totally. And I still get nervous a bit. But, and I'd say like in general, I think I'm kind of like a shy person.
Yeah.
But stand-up's a little different where you're kind of like setting the narrative of why somebody's laughing at you, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I was pretty nervous the first time. I would say you could probably attest to that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think you seemed nervous.
Yeah.
You seemed like, quiet, like, because you're quiet.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I felt like you were good because you were amongst what appeared to be a bunch of people you were already friends with. So that seemed to maybe take a little
edge off. Yeah.
Edge off if you're.
Yeah, I almost thought like once I like doing comedy, I almost felt like it was a little easier before I knew everybody.
Yeah.
Because then like once you start to get to know everyone, you're just like kind of, I don't know, kind of get more concerned about like what they're gonna think.
Yeah, you probably get inside your head a little
more. Yeah, totally. But yeah, people always are like, you seem very comfortable up there. You seem very, which like I'm not a comfortable person at all. Like people just assume that I'm laid back, but not so much.
Right.
But yeah, nervous at first, still sort of get nervous, but it's gotten a lot better. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm starting to be able to like have a little more fun with it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And you must have like a process now that you're doing it like, do you do it once a week at least?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Usually more like 3 to 5 times a week or something. Like, yeah. So yeah, I usually go to a mic on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then sometimes shows on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
So it all just depends. Also, I'd like to mention that I am the resident hot dog, which is a funny thing to say. But basically, I'm like on every show at this place in Worcester. It's called George's Coney Island.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know that place?
The hot dog place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best. You should come sometime.
So it's more than just a place to eat hot dogs now?
Yeah. Yeah, they have like a side room kind of. Mm-hmm. And so basically I'm on every show there. So like once a month. Huh. It's basically the show. It's super fun. You spin a wheel to sort of figure out what you're going to do.
Okay.
So you might have seen my picture with the ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah.
The first time I was there, I spun and I landed on hot dog, which you get like a free hot dog and you eat the hot dog and then they give you another challenge.
Yeah. So you had to use a ventriloquist dummy?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was like nerve-wracking. And I was just sort of like riffing. And at the end of it, like I did like 5 minutes with the dummy, and my friend Sean Connolly, who runs the show afterwards, he was like, I thought you were just going to like do your material. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like,
right. Do you do improv much?
No,
not at all. Any like audience interaction stuff?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes at bars, like people will just think it's like a conversation.
Right.
So a little bit of that. Nothing like too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple shows that are at like super notorious Boston bars where there's like a lot of heckling. Do you know that place like Hogan's Run?
Yeah.
Well, now it's Lincoln's.
Okay.
And there's like a bi-weekly show there. But yeah, if you've ever been there, it's like a super towny, like sketchy place.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go there before. It's probably less sketchy, but there's always a lot of heckling.
Yeah.
A lot of Adderall talk going on.
A lot of dudes named Tommy and
A lot of, Tommy's.
Jimmy's and
Kenny
and Sully's and that kind of thing. Shawnee. And so your process with the kind of comedy you do now, you don't do like one-liner type stuff.
No, a little bit.
Yeah.
Because my last name is Dick. So there's some dick puns thrown in there.
Yeah.
Some one-liners, but yeah, I more just do sort of autobiographical, sort of self-deprecating stuff.
Yeah. That seems to be the stuff people relate to the most.
Yeah.
At least I do when I
totally
see that kind of stuff. So that's the stuff I like best.
Yeah.
I think.
You like the show tonight if you come.
Yeah. Let's promote. Even though this podcast isn't going to be on for probably like 2 weeks, we might as well promote the thing tonight too. It's
sure.
Over in Norwood, Mass.
Space Center. It's sort of an art show. You seem to know more about it than I
know,
do
right?
at this point.
It's like a comedy show / and then it says people move into the next building for like a reggae dance.
Oh, that's why you sent me that picture.
Yeah.
Christian sent me this picture of this guy smoking a huge
something
contraption of weed.
Yeah. The singer for the Cro-Mags posted that exact picture earlier that day for a completely different reason. But I probably won't attend the reggae dance party.
No,
I'm kind of burnt out on those at this point.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So I probably won't. But and so as far as doing comedy in Boston, do you have like a favorite place that you like to work?
I like some of the places that are kind of shittier.
Yeah.
Just because you can be a little more freer and have fun. That place Lincoln's that I mentioned before is kind of notoriously shitty, but I kind of like it. My favorite open mic, which also has the reputation of it being Boston, the greater Boston area's most nightmarish open mic.
Yeah.
Is Middle East, like the corner there.
Yeah.
On Tuesday nights. That mic goes from 9 p.m. till like 1 in the morning.
Yeah. So nightmarish in what regard? Cause
it's just, there's like 70 comics and a lot of it is bad. And there's, Central Square is just like a spectacle.
Yeah. And you're right, it's pretty much in the window.
Yeah. Yes, that's the thing. There's always people walking by the window and
what the fuck these guys doing in here?
Look at these guys. I'm gonna dance outside the window.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
And maybe like there's homeless people that come out once in a while. Good times.
Yeah.
Where else do I like to perform? I do the naked show. Did you know that?
No. What is that?
So the first Thursday of every month, there's a naked comedy showcase.
Yeah.
At Improv Boston. You know where that is? Mm-hmm. In Central? Yeah. So you perform naked.
Yeah.
And the crowd is always super supportive. And they also do like a little podcast afterwards. And it's a good time.
Is that, the first time you did that, was that scary?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's like fine once you get out there. You kind of just forget.
Right.
But it was fun. Like just sort of putting yourself literally all the way out there.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, standing on stage with a microphone to me is like horrible. It sounds like a nightmare. And for a while I kind of wanted to do stand up.
Yeah.
Still, I think this is probably as far as that's gonna go.
Yeah. But you're very funny.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
But as far as like standing on a stage, I don't think I could. So doing it that like naked. I think, are there creeps there? Like, is there like a no phones?
Yeah, thing? Definitely a no phones thing. No, it's not usually creepy. It's like Cambridge, so it's mostly like couples or I don't know, fucking Cambridge people. As long as you're politically correct,
Yeah.
they like you.
Yeah. So you've obviously, because you've been doing it for a while now, experienced bombing a few times. What's maybe?
No, never.
Yeah.
Never.
What is that like?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I think I'm definitely... I'll always like address it afterwards, like, okay, you guys didn't like this, or I don't know, it's not so bad, really.
Yeah. Do you record everything? And
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I forgot to record my set last night, which is very unlike me.
Yeah.
Half the time I don't even listen to them, but
yeah.
they're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, bombing, whatever, it's fine. It's just a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your process of like writing stuff, how does that work? You handwrite stuff down and all?
Yeah, I handwrite stuff down, or like I'll write something in my phone, like when I think of random ideas.
Yeah.
But I always think it's weird when people, like a lot of people, make up stuff, and I'm like, how do you? There's so much stuff to like make up from, like I have to pull from like my real life. So,
right.
I just kind of make jokes from like funny stuff that has happened to me. A lot of like relationship stuff from the past, and like I said, my last name is a synonym for penis.
The dating stuff. I think at one point before I moved, you and I even discussed doing a podcast. Remember?
I think so. Yeah.
And then I kind of just left you in the dust, and now I'm doing this,
cool, intensely
popular, podcast
so
with like millions of followers.
So popular.
Now.
Yeah. But what was our podcast going to be?
I think because we were both doing like online dating a lot, so we were going to maybe just talk about that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
And whatever else, but I don't know how long that could have gone.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because it's kind of a nightmare to do that for more than like 3 months.
Online dating?
Yeah. At a time.
100%.
So.
It's the worst.
Yeah. But yeah. So.
Yeah. Now you're doing it.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do for the future? You have stuff to.
I'm not really a person that ever has goals. But I want to just keep doing stand up and writing, and it's a process, and I think stand up is fun because everybody, like literally everyone, has their own paths.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you have like ideas that you would want to turn this into like maybe a writing gig or?
I mean, that'd be great. Like sometimes I still think, because I was saying like I really liked to sketch growing up, so like I get ideas for like sketches and stuff, and like I might like to branch out into that like at some point. Which I think, yeah. I have some friends that are like in sketch groups or whatever, so I'd like to think about doing that. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, so what do you have coming up for stuff? So you do the open mics and then...
So, yeah. Tonight is the show at the Space Center.
Yeah.
You can't go because it will already be over by the time you're listening to this.
When I put the intro on this, maybe I'll talk about how it went, unless something horrible happens.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, if I die on the way home or something, then I probably won't.
You get stomped to death at the reggae party.
Oh, yeah, the reggae thing, yeah. If I get too high.
Yeah.
I mean, if like from that, they get contact high.
Yeah. And I will be... Do I have anything else in February? I don't think so. On March 9th, I will be back at Kodo. Oh, yeah? Have you been to those shows at Kodo?
I haven't. I'm going to be up in the area on March 9th for actually doing a podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Like 6, so maybe I'll come over.
Oh, yeah. You should. Yeah. I'll invite Brian, our friend Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
We should get him on here, huh?
Yeah, man. That'd be great.
He probably wouldn't want to use his real name, though. He's very
Right.
secret.
I know. Well, he's back on Instagram. I didn't.
Yeah, we could probably talk about him for an hour.
You could just be like, Brian, go.
He used to be called the One Man Party when
Yeah.
I knew him, like when I first met him.
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense. So yeah, Koto, and then the day before actually, I'll be at the hot dog place.
Oh, okay.
Worcester, and do I have anything else exciting coming up? Those are the two that are sticking out in my mind right now.
Any favorite comedians in Boston? I think people should.
Oh yeah. Carrie Ross is great.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Gallagher is great. Who else do I like? Alan Fitzgerald, who will be on the show tonight, is really great.
Nice.
So those are 3 favorites that come to mind. There's John Paul Rivera actually is like my super fave.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that could be my fave, but they're all kind of in New York now.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of moving happening lately.
Nice.
So, yeah.
The guy I saw open for Louis C.K. at Somerville
Gary
Theater.
Peterson.
He was really good.
Yeah, Gary rules.
Yeah.
He's in LA now.
Is he?
Yeah, but he was just here a couple weeks ago. Gary is great.
I'll beep out that I said Louis C.K. from this.
Yeah.
People don't know that I liked him at one point.
Yeah.
So.
Disgraceful.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyhow.
Thank you for doing the podcast.
Yeah. Is it too short? Should we keep talking?
We can keep talking. Some of these are shorter than others, but if we can keep talking. If you want to talk about, why don't you tell us a joke?
Oh God!
No, I'm kidding. Dude, so that's the thing. So, do like your family members or ever like?
Yeah.
Do they have family members come to see you?
My dad has, and that's it for now. But my mom and my aunt really want to come to a show. So yeah. Because
I imagine people will be like, "Tell us a joke. I heard your mother told me you're doing comedy now."
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a niece and 2 nephews, and I've like written some jokes about them.
Yeah.
So like I've told them that there's jokes that I tell about them.
Right.
Like yeah. One time my nephew said to me, he's 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like leaving my sister's house, and he was like, "Do you have a daughter?" And I was like, "No." And then he asked me if I had a son, and I said, "No." Like, anything you know by now? And then he was like, "What do you have?" So I made that into a joke, where the punchline is crippling depression.
Does this help crippling depression? Do you think? Like, is this
comedy?
Like comedy? I mean, that seems to be like an ongoing theme for people.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, even just to have a place to go.
Just like to have a creative outlet, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know with this podcast, it kind of got me to be more social with people.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, like I was saying before we started recording, I get tons of anxiety, like messaging people that I don't know to do this podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, if you want to be on the podcast, send me a message. And then nobody ever messages me.
Right.
But which is fine. I should be messaging people and getting it done myself. But I think having a creative outlet has definitely put me in a better place mentally in the last few months doing this. And so
same. I like it. It's a fun little puzzle to try to figure out.
Yeah.
Good times.
Well, thanks again for doing this.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Bye.